I know you've been hearing about Armenia in the news, so it's time for a geography lesson. It sits at a strategic crossroad between Russia, Iran, Turkey, and Azerbaijan, if you could pronounce that correctly, a neighborhood where borders, energy, and security are never separate issues. For years, Armenia has relied on Iran as one of its few open gateways for trade and energy, a relationship born more out of geography and necessity than ideology. For Iran, that relationship has come with benefits as well. Sanctions tighten and regional pressure increases, and Tehran has looked for friendly channels to move goods, maintain energy links, and protect influence without direct confrontation. And Armenia has increasingly fit that role, not as a formal ally, but as a convenient partner in a region where access is power. That is the context for Vice President JD Vance's trip to Armenia and Azerbaijan. The administration is trying to reset the board, pushing peace talks, opening trade routes, and pulling Armenia closer to the West as a way to reduce both Russian and Iranian leverage. The Vice President used the opportunity to reinforce the spiritual bonds America shares with Armenia that the latter doesn't share with Iran. Look.
This is one of the oldest Christian countries in the entire world, a true bedrock of Christian civilization and culture. As a devout Christian myself, I know the meaning of this country to the entire world and to the religion that the Prime Minister and I share. So to the people of Armenia and the great Prime Minister, I want to thank you for your partnership. President Trump is committed to this partnership, and so am I, and we're thrilled to be here to take the next step. God bless you.
The U.S. has already committed billions to help Armenia shift away from Russian energy, a move that also weakens Iran's position by cutting off an important regional outlet. Iran is pushing ahead with advanced nuclear work while simultaneously looking for ways to soften the impact of sanctions and isolation. Cutting down the number of friendly doors Iran can use in regions like the Caucasus is seen as one way to tighten the box around Tehran without firing a single shot. Joining me now is President of Global ARM and much better at pronouncing things than me, Timothy Jemal. Welcome. What our audience doesn't get to see is that we record these shows. I couldn't pronounce something. You're telling him in the control room how I'm supposed to say it. The audience will never know, but I just exposed myself. But anyway, thank you so much for being here, my friend.
Thanks for having me. I'm usually the one mispronouncing, so no problem.
So, look, I mean, a lot of people are learning about these regions now that they've never heard of before. And that's because no president or vice president has ever went to Armenia before. And if you look at the regional situation, the pressure we're trying to exert over Russia to end the war in Ukraine, the fact that we took out Venezuelan's leader who was aligned with Hezbollah and Iran, and now we're making nuclear deals with Azerbaijan and Armenia. Something's going on here, right? What's going on, and why is this significant?
So 3 years ago, I actually penned an op-ed in Newsweek saying it's time for a pivot to Armenia. And the reason why I said that is because in Armenia, you had clearly a country trying to emerge from Russia's shadow. Two, the United States itself is very popular in Armenia among the people, not just the government. And three, you have a value system based on democracy and Christianity that was consistent to United States values. So you had an opportunity here, a historic opportunity for the United States to move and develop a partnership, a strategic partnership with Armenia. And I will say in your opening, you alluded to it, when you look at the geography and where Armenia is located at the crossroads of Central Asia and Europe, you couldn't have a more strategic location. And to the Trump administration's credit, they recognized that early on, even before their inauguration, that Armenia is a place where we need to have a deeper relationship and move on it strategically, both for Armenia's interests, for peace, and for the United States economy.
Why hasn't anybody done this before? I mean, it seems obvious. I mean, is Trump just that smart?
I think they're very smart. I mean, to your point, other administrations should have moved faster. Russia was definitely more of a greater political actor over the last few years than it is today. And so I think the Trump administration rightly, look, this is a once in a generation opportunity. And I will say, I even talked to a former Biden administration official last week who admitted that the Trump administration was doing the right thing, Armenia, and that they themselves should have moved faster. So I think that the fact that the president himself, Secretary of State, and this historic visit of the vice president embodies the pathway of of the United States. And this is consistent with America First policy. You alluded to it again in your intro. We're talking about the possibility of $9 billion in exports in civilian nuclear energy cooperation. Now, this is not a gift from the United States to Armenia. This is Armenia that would purchase U.S. civilian nuclear technology to rebuild a nuclear power plant and to maintain it and provide it with fuel. So this is provides jobs for Americans and economic growth for American companies.
Well, and you know what else is brilliant about it, too, is that Iran has long tried to legitimize its uranium enrichment as this is for energy, and not only domestic, but we can export this energy as well. Well, guess what? If Iran's neighbors are producing their own energy and they have nuclear partners outside of Iran, well, it takes away Iran's argument of why they would need to enrich uranium and advance nuclear technology. So this is all very smart in isolating Iran and also building allies where we need them. I think what a wonderful take, and we'll see where this aligns with a broader geopolitical structure. But this is, you're exactly right, this is America first, and it's Trump yet again trying to find allies and places to make America and the region safer. Timothy, thank you so much for being here and giving us your insights.
Can I just make one final point?
I would love for you to make as many points as you'd like.
Okay, I didn't know if I had more leeway or not.
You have as much leeway as you'd like, my friend.
Part of what's happened in Armenia started on August 8th last September, where the presidents of Armenia and Azerbaijan met in the Oval Office in the presence of President Trump and signed a peace declaration, not a final peace deal, but a peace declaration. And a cornerstone of that peace declaration is the development of what's called the Trump route for international peace and prosperity. This is a brand new supply chain moving goods and cargo through southern Armenia is a joint venture between the United States and Armenia. And now the United States will have a reliable, resilient supply chain moving goods and cargo through a very strategic part of the world, a supply chain we didn't have up until this year. And so this is really a remarkable advancement for the United States, its strategic interest, and it helps Armenia as well. I think for this, and the vice president alluded to it, for peace to be lasting, there are a few more obstacles that need to be overcome in between Armenia and Azerbaijan. Currently, Azerbaijan detains about at least 19 known Armenian hostages, political hostages. So they will need to be released in order to peace to truly be reconciled. They also occupy parts of Armenia, about 200 square kilometers. Azerbaijan occupies Armenia. So that needs to end. The occupation needs to end in order for this peace deal to be inked and solidified and to ensure that American interests prevail. Because the last thing we want as Americans is for this new Trump route for international peace and prosperity, for that to be undone because of Azerbaijan disrupting this transit route and in essence betraying the United States, which up until today, they do have a pattern of doing that until President Trump came in. And I think it would be foolish for them not to honor their word to the president.
Yeah, well, look, this is all very positive developments, and I appreciate your take on all of it. Timothy, once again, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Coming up, more on the current situation with Iran, which is once again targeting commercial shipping in a waterway that moves a major share of the world's oil. Stick around.